Senator, this happened after you and President Trump were on the debate stage, said that cats and dogs were being eaten.
You asked a question, Dana, and I'm going to go ahead and...
JD Vance was just on CNN with Dana Bash, who actually fact-checked him in real time. There's a lot of clips to go through, so let's just go through all of them. And then at the very end, Josh Shapiro is on next, and he totally mocked JD Vance. Good. Let's go through these. Here he is getting fact-checked after making absurd claims about how his constituents are seeing stuff that no one else is seeing, and then Dana Bash brings a lot of facts. But also, I want you to watch Dana Bash's face because JD Vance gets extremely personal, and she looks shocked.
Talked about some of the things that I've been talking about. Let me just say this. My constituents have brought approximately a dozen separate concerns to me. 10 of them are verifiable and confirmable, and a couple of them I talk about because my constituents are telling me firsthand that they're seeing these things. So I have two options, Dana. I can ignore them, which is what the American media has done for years to this community, or I can actually talk about what people are telling me. And of course, many of the things that the media says are completely baseless have since been confirmed. For example, I was told, Dana, that by the American media that it was baseless that migrants were capturing the geese from the local park pond and eating them. And yet there are 911 calls from well before this ever became a viral sensation of people complaining about that exact thing happening. So my attitude is listen to my constituents. Sometimes they're going to say things that people don't like, but they're saying things that people don't like because their town has been overwhelmed, and it's my job to try to fight for them and to protect them. Kamala Harris opened the border, and now these people are suffering. That's what I'm focused on, Dana.
Senator, I have to go through several things that you just said. First of all, the Clark County Sheriff and the Ohio Department of Natural Resources reviewed 11 months of 911 calls. They only identified 2 instances of people alleging Haitians were taking geese out of parks. They found 0 evidence to substantiate those claims. Also, other evidence that you have talked about, even you've retweeted alleged evidence, are unsourced social media videos from a different city, apparently no connection to Haitians. And this is from a conservative activist who offered a $5,000 reward for such things. And then going just backly to the schools and the hospitals and so forth being overwhelmed, nobody is disputing that the town of Springfield, Ohio, needs help. But you're not just a bystander. You're the senator from Ohio. So instead of saying things that are wrong and actually causing the hospitals, the schools, the government buildings to be evacuated because of bomb threats, because of the cats and dogs thing, why not actually be constructive in helping to better integrate them into the community? Because there are a lot of employers there who say that the Haitian workers are helping fill jobs that they need desperately filled.
Dana, first of all, let me just respond to a couple of things that you said. But I want to start with something you said, which I think is frankly disgusting and is more appropriate for a Democratic propagandist than it is for an American journalist. There is nothing that I have said that has led to threats against these hospitals. These hospitals, the bomb threats and so forth, it's disgusting. The violence is disgusting. We condemn it. We condemn all violence.
Senator, this happened after you and President Trump were on the debate stage, said that cats and dogs were being eaten.
You asked a question, Dana, and I'm going to go ahead and answer it. What we have said.
Wow. So a couple of things there. How are you lying? You are running for vice president. You are a senator from Ohio. How are you lying so brazenly? I'm glad she called out those lies. It was a different city. It's not even happening. And the person who came out with their original post says they regret making it up. And it's the brazenness. For me, it's the brazenness of the lying. They don't care. Like, truth doesn't matter anymore to them. It just doesn't matter anymore. And I'm glad she made that point, that J.D. Vance is in power. It's not said enough. It's not like it's, some state where they're not, affiliated with it. J.D. Vance is the senator from Ohio. He could be doing something to help make sure those migrants who are there legally, The Haitian migrants are there illegally so they can better integrate. But to make up racist lies about how they're eating pets, they are making life harder for them, not easier for anyone in that community. Here he is trying to play down the bomb threats.
After that, they were
what we have said is that this town has suffered terribly under the policies of Kamala Harris. Now, you just accused me of inciting violence against the community when all that I've done is surface the complaints of my constituents, people who are suffering because of Kamala Harris's policies. Are we not allowed to talk about these problems because some psychopaths are threatening violence? We can condemn the violence on the one hand, but also talk about the terrible consequences of Kamala Harris.
God. They're threatening violence literally because of you. You are the reason why this is happening. It's not happening in a vacuum. It's not happening in a vacuum. Dana Bash actually goes silent because of what he says.
Just once and for all, you again started this in part by saying that, which Donald Trump repeated on the debate stage, that, and he didn't say anything about the policies that you're talking about. He just said Haitians are eating dogs and cats. Can you affirmatively say now that that is a rumor that has no basis with evidence?
Dana, the evidence is the first-hand account of my constituents who are telling me that this happened. And by the way, I've been trying to talk about the problems in Springfield for months, and the American media ignored it. There was a congressional hearing just last week of angel moms who lost children because Kamala Harris let criminal migrants into this country who then murdered their children. The American media totally ignored this stuff until Donald Trump and I started talking about cat memes. If I have to,
But it wasn't just a meme,
create stories so that the American media actually pays attention to the suffering of the American people, then that's what I'm going to do, Dana, because you guys are completely letting Kamala Harris coast. You had one interview with her. You talk about pushing back against me, Dana. You didn't push back against the fact that she cast the deciding vote on the Inflation Reduction Act, which is why a lot of Americans can't afford food and housing.
You just said that you're
creating
creating a story.
Public policy.
Sir, you just said that you're creating the story.
What's that, Dana?
You just said that this is a story that you
Yes.
created. So the eating dogs and cats thing is not accurate.
Dana, it comes from firsthand accounts from my constituents. I say that we're creating a story, meaning we're creating the American media focusing on it. I didn't create 20,000 illegal migrants coming into Springfield thanks to Kamala Harris's policies. Her policies did that, but yes, we created the actual focus that allowed the American media to.
Wild. He's made it up. He made it up. All right, here's an epic Josh Shapiro takedown. Literally, like, the moment afterwards. Like, went to commercial, then Josh Shapiro. Watch this.
Response to what you heard from Senator J.D. Vance.
I mean, Dana, that was bonkers. Listen, the governor of Ohio, the mayor of that town in Ohio, has said this is all made up. These are all lies. There's no truth to it. And the United States Senator from Ohio just came on your show and blamed his own constituents for his own lies. This guy's so pathetic, but the thing is, it is dangerous. There is a causal connection between the BS that J.D. Vance and Donald Trump spew and the safety and security of the American people. When they go out and they lie about this stuff, they put their fellow Americans at risk. J.D. Vance should be ashamed of himself. He knows better. I mean, this guy, whether he's on your show or he's in some sports bar where, I mean, by the way, a total pick-me in that sports bar the other day, he just doesn't understand the power of his words, the power of his lies, and those lies are putting people at risk. This is dangerous stuff. I know it started because they wanted to just distract the American people from their failed policies and their chaos, but this has now taken on a life of its own because of what they incited, and people's lives are at risk because of J.D. Vance. This guy should know better. It's shameful what he...
I'm going to push back for a moment on the governor. And I'm going to say that J.D. Vance actually knows exactly what he's doing. He knows exactly what he's doing. This is the Donald Trump playbook, where if things aren't going well, look over here. And I don't know. I mean, I have seen polls that have showed that like 70% of Americans believe the cat and dog eating story to be fake. So that's good. But my one worry is that what are we talking about during these past week? Immigration. What is the best policy for Trump that people think he could fix? Immigration. So I'm not sure if this nets out as good or bad for Vance and Trump. But I think interviews like this are important because it really does point out the absurdity and that they cannot defend their own actions. Real quick, if you're liking this video, please like the video. And if you're not subscribed, consider subscribing. Thanks so much.
I know what's wrong with you young people. You think you just fell out of a coconut tree?